Welcome back, guys. I'm really excited to share this new video with all of you. This is another double video, another double strategy, and obviously, this is a new one, a different one from the last double strategy that I shared in my last video. So, yeah, this is a unique one, and its progression is completely different than the last one. Okay, so let's just dive into it. Again, keep a strict target and a strict stop loss. And let's begin. There's no point in dragging this anymore. So, what we're gonna do, we're gonna bet on the last dozen, okay? But there is a condition that in the last two numbers, there should be two different dozens, you know? For example, here in the last two numbers, we see 1 and 11. So that means they both were from the same dozen, from the first dozen. So we need to wait for two numbers to come back to back, and they should be from two different dozens, okay, and then only we can bet. So we're gonna do an empty spin just to bring out a different number. Well, okay, this is 27, so this is from the third dozen, so we're gonna follow that number. Okay, we're gonna bet 10 units on third dozen. So let's spin. This strategy has an interesting, really interesting progression system. Okay, and I'm going to show you when it starts. So we lose our first bet and the last one from the first dozen. So we're going to bet same 10 units. We're not going to increase our bet size. Obviously, we're not going to do martingale. As you already know, I hate that martingale strategy. I don't do that. We lose this one too. We're going to bet on the third dozen because the last one was from the third dozen. This one is from the second dozen. Okay, so don't get disappointed or frustrated. Okay, this strategy goes far more deeper than you think. So what happens here is that we are already down by 30 units. We lost back to back 3 rounds. This can happen in this strategy. So now what we are gonna do is that we are gonna bet 30 units on the last two dozens, and they were the second dozen and the third dozen, because the last two numbers were 15 and 30 respectively. So we are going to bet on the last two dozens, okay, 30 and 30 units, because we want to bring back whatever we lost. And if we lose this bet, I'm going to show you what to do next, so stick around. Okay, this is not a martingale. We're not going to go double or anything like that. Okay, we win. So we have brought back whatever we lost. Okay, so we are going to go back to our base bet, and the last one was 19 and the previous one was 15. So they both were from the same dozen. So what you're going to do, we're going to do an empty spin so that we can get a number from a different dozen. Okay, this is good, 36. So we're going to bet on the third dozen. We're going to go back to our base bet of 10 units. Okay, we're going to spin. 29, we win. Okay, so now as we see that the last two numbers were from the same dozen, so we're gonna do an empty spin once again. We need different numbers in the previous two numbers. Okay, in previous two rounds we need different numbers from different dozens. Like here we got two different dozens, so we're gonna follow the last dozen. Okay, let's see what happens. 10, we win again. There will be situations where you're gonna lose 2 or 3 bets, and I've shown you already what to do. But what happens when that recovery bet also goes wrong? So I'm going to show that to you, but stick around for that. Okay, so we have won again, but this time also, if we see the last two numbers, they are from the same dozen, from the first dozen. So we are going to do an empty spin once again. 31, and now we're going to follow the third dozen. It's an interesting strategy, but you need to know it in depth so that you don't lose it in the midway, you know. Okay. So what happens is that we lost our last one. So we're gonna bet on the with 10 units on the first dozen. There's no need for panic. There's no need to do martingale. There's no need to increase bet size just now. 27. We lose this one too. We're gonna bet again on the third dozen. It's fine, not a problem. Okay, so we win. So we don't need to do martingale right now, martingale or any progressions right now. Okay, there's no need for any of that. We're still up by 40, but the last two numbers were from the same dozen. So we're gonna do an empty spin. Always remember that you need to end up in winnings, in positive. So it doesn't matter what you win and lose on a single round. You need to just remember or keep it in mind that your chips count should be higher than what you had when you started this game, started this session, you know. Okay, so we have two different dozens in the last two numbers. So now we are going to follow the last numbers dozen, the second one, spin. 4. We lose. We're going to bet on the first dozen now. 0. Obviously not a good sign. We're going to do an empty spin because, you know, 0 obviously. 35. Whenever 0 comes, you need to do an empty spin after that. For obvious reasons, obviously, it doesn't belong from any dozens. We're going to follow the third dozen with 10 units. Okay, we win. Now, many of you may be thinking, well, in this way, our chip counts is not going to increase that much rapidly. Well, that's true. But another thing that you need to keep in mind that you are not losing your bankroll on a single round, you know, by betting without any control just for gaining one more unit. That's not happening here. So what you're doing is that you're looking for slow but constant growth. It's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen slowly but steadily. Okay, follow the method. Okay, the last two rounds were from the same dozen. So we're gonna do an empty spin once again. We're up by 40, so no need for worries. 4. We're gonna bet 10 here on the first dozen. It's interesting what you do when we lose that recovery bet that we did earlier in the video and we won that round. So there is another step that you need to take when you lose that recovery bet, you know, when you bet 30 units on two dozens. You need to know that before you start implementing this strategy anywhere. Now the last two numbers were from the same dozen, so we're going to do an empty spin. We're up by 60 already. Okay, keep a certain target in your mind before you start playing the game, as I always say. Okay, so we're going to follow the second dozen now. This the last number was 14. Its progression is different from that follow the last number strategy, you know. Okay, we lose this one. We're going to go bet on the third dozen. Its progression system is completely different. If we lose, we don't just increase our bet size immediately, you know. We don't do that. We're going to bet on the second dozen. Okay, 0 obviously. We lose 3 bets, but we're going to do an empty spin because we need a number. We need a dozen number so that we can do our next bet. Anyway, 15. Okay, so what's happening here is that the last two numbers are from the same dozen, so we need another empty spin. we can't count 0, obviously. 18 once again. We need another spin, another empty one. We're going to do the recovery bit until you get another. You are going to keep on doing those empty spins, but this time we have one. So what you're going to do, we're going to look for last two numbers and we're going to bet on both of those dozens, 30 units, like we did earlier. There is another step after this, so just keep on waiting, keep on watching. We win. Okay, we're going to go back to our base bet and follow the last dozen. We're back with 60, so there's no problem in there. 8, no problem. We're going to follow the dozen. We're growing slowly, but that's fine. We're going to bet. Okay, now what happens is that you have lost 30 back to back. So now again we repeat that process. Okay, we spin. If we lose this one, we're going to do another step. Okay, but in this case also we haven't lost it. Yes, we haven't lost it, but obviously we'll have to do an empty spin because the last two dozens were from the same number. Anyway, I'm going to reveal it to you, but I wanted to give you a live demo. That's why I was hoping, although I should not, but I was hoping that, well, the recovery bit would go wrong and then I could reveal it to you with a live demo. But that didn't happen. We'll have to do another empty spin. Obviously, we didn't get a new dozen from the last two numbers. 14 here. We get a new dozen. Now, I'm going to bet the best bet 10. We're already up by 60. We don't need to take excessive risks. We are playing roulette. It's a game of chance. We don't need to take any excessive risk. If you do that by coming under greed, you are going to only help casino. Don't do that. So I'm going to bet here. Okay, we're again down by 30 units. So we're going to do is that last two dozens. Remember, when you are doing the recovery bet, you need to remember the last two dozens and you need to bet on both of these dozens with 30 units so that you can get back your lost amount. Okay, so now this is a good example. That's what I was talking about. This is what I was talking about. If what happens if you lose your recovery bet, well, your next bet will be increased by 2 units. Okay, we're going to increase 2 units and we're going to follow the last two dozens. Okay, we're going to increase it by 2 units and we're going to follow last two dozens. So that means we're playing with 30. This time we're going to play with 50. Okay, the last two numbers are 35 and 8. We're going to bet on the third and on the first dozen respectively. I mean, at the same time, we're going to bet on the last two dozens. Let's see what happens, because we're thinking about recovering our loss, but not with martingale method. Okay, we're going to increase it by 2 units. Okay, now we have won, but if you see the stats, we were up by 60, but now we have only 20 units. So what we are going to do this time with negative progression, we are not going to come down to our basic bet or 230. No, we are going to come down 1 unit. Okay, we're going to place 40 units bets on the last two dozens. We're going to bet 40 units on the last two dozens, and we're going to do this until we get back to our previous winning amount, which was 60, right? Which was 60. We're going to keep on doing that until we get back there. So we are back to 60, and now we don't need to do that anymore. We can go back to our base bet with the last dozen. Okay, which is 34. On the third dozen, we are back to our base bet with 10 units, because we are back with our session win, which was 60 previously. We have gotten back what we lost, so we don't need to take excessive risks. And again, we'll wait for profit, they will come. But first of all, we need to protect our bankroll, right? That's what we're doing. My target is 100. So yeah, the last two numbers were from the same dozen, so we're going to spin. Again from the same dozen, so spin. You need to always set up a predetermined target in your mind before you start playing. Okay, bet on the last dozen. So you have understood how the progression works. Okay, it could have gone to another level, so we would have added another 2 units. When we lose, we add 2 units, and when we win, we reduce, we cut off 1 unit. Okay, this will take time, but this helps. This strategy really helps. I've seen this, I've used it myself. And yeah, we're gonna do another empty spin. My target is 100. If we get 100, yeah, that will be it. Another empty spin. We went down, but we came back, isn't it? That's how this strategy works. And also at the same time, we didn't destroy our bankroll. What more do you want, huh? Anyway, let's bet. Okay, I think I did a mistake anyway, because I should have bet on the second unit and then bet on the third. Okay, that's a mistake from my side, but anyway, I won. So yeah, there is no need for me to play anymore. But yeah, the last one was a mishap. I should have bet on the second one, but anyway, I have won. So yeah, that was it. When we lose, we are gonna add up by 2 units after losing 3 consecutive bets. We are gonna bet 30 units on the last 2 dozens. Okay. If we lose that, we are gonna add up 2 units on the last 2 dozens, and when we win, we are gonna cut off by 1 unit until we get back to our previous winning amounts. Okay. I hope I'm clear. And if you have confusions, as always, write me in the comment section, and I will obviously explain everything once if you need it. So that's not a problem. And carefully use this strategy. Okay. And best of luck. See you in the next video.